capable of defending Cuba succeeded to obtain that pact of non-aggression on the island in exchange of the withdrawal of a few missiles.
Stop. Take two, roll two.
So I consider that the US government of that time was deceived by the Soviets because they were absolutely incapable to defend Cuba, and they obtained, in exchange of the withdrawal of a few missiles, no one knows if they were made of tin or not, because for their use. So one can say that they obtained it with very little price, that pact of non-aggression. So I think that because of all these failures, blunders, the US government of that time could not resist, was too tempted. It was too tempted, it was irresistible to use its only winning card, which was Vietnam. To speak of Vietnam as a winning card, surely people would feel amazed, because it has always been presented as something lost, it was a mess, etc., etc. This is not true. The very proof that it was a winning card was in the fact that the US jumped in it, wanted to be there, had to kill to intervene. So no one can believe that materialistic as they are, as are the Americans, that they would do all those things to jump into a lost place. So the very proof is there. But for the proof for the American government was, in fact, that we have pacified the whole South with the strategic hamlets program, and in spite of that, seeing that they have lost the guerrilla, the subversive war, the communists dare not to escalate. And since they dare not to escalate, the Americans saw very well that if they dare not, it was only out of fear of our ally, the US. So they considered that all the factors of a sure victory were there to be taken. If only the Modins, that means President Modin Diem and my husband, could be replaced by people who would accept American intervention. Because we did not want that intervention. So they had to be killed. Just that. And in order to do that, to commit that treason, the Western media, in the wake of the US, were drummed up to present us as dictators. For this, I must read it, because really it is very important for me. We were presented, even now, dictators. Yet, we have never infringed our constitution, which was more democratic than the US one, and more democratic than the French and British ones. In what way? Our legislature had, for example, the right given by a 1962 constitutional amendment to question publicly the executive any time in plenary session. This is spared to the American executive. Besides, our executive have no right, like in France and in England, to put an end before it's time to the legislature. Never. They have to coexist until their respective term. The people cannot be summoned because the two cannot get along. We find that too futile. And for important questions, there are the referendums. So the proof is there. Of course, the amendment came only in 1962, but who has said it? Who has informed the world to say that our constitution is like this? That means more democratic.
Back for.
Of course, we did not have much time to apply our amendment, but at least it was there. So it is absolutely dishonest to present us as dictators, while we have never infringed our constitution. There is no proof of any wrongdoing from us towards our constitution. But to give some credit to at least to when the press, the media at that time, the Western media at that time called us dictators, it was made of all clothes that Buddhist affair, to present us at least not only as dictators but rejected by a majority of our people. That Buddhist affair. You know why they use that theme? It is just because with that they are sure that the true Buddhists will never denounce them. Because according to Buddhist belief, no action, no reaction. So a true Buddhist never react. They would never go out and publicly denounce anyone. So using the Buddhist etiquette, they are sure not to be denounced by the true Buddhists. On the other side, that they know that for the West, it is religious fanaticism is in general considered as something typical to immature people, mentally underdeveloped countries, so it doesn't have to explain itself, to justify itself. So because of these two reasons, they chose the Buddhists to, how do you call that, etiquette, I don't know, label for their lie, to give credit when they accuse us of being unpopular dictators. But it was enough for us to arrest a few agitators and asking the United Nations to send an investigation team and pricked Buddhist balloon went flat. Because of that, the US government considered that it has lost the faith and decided to finish with the legitimate power. Vietnam with a so-called putsch, in which President Ngo Dinh Diem and my husband were assassinated. Now I go to the second treason. The second treason came with on January 27, 1973, in Paris, 12 nations, among them the highest, the greatest powers of the world, Soviet, China, of course the US first, Soviets, China, France, England, and so on. 12 gathered very solemnly in Paris to sign to guarantee the right of the Vietnamese people to choose their legitimate power under international control. In spite of that, that treaty, international treaty, has never been respected. Why? All those who have signed it